Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to build a database completely from the ground up. We're going to take a real-world business mess and turn it into a model of pure efficiency. So, we're going on a little journey here. From total data chaos, I'm talking scattered spreadsheets, scribbled paper logbooks, to absolute data clarity, where a single, really well-designed database holds all the answers. Let's see how it's done. Okay, so our story kicks off with a manager named Jen Martino. She's new at a Planet Fitness franchise, and, well, she basically inherited a complete operational nightmare. Her data was everywhere and nowhere, all at the same time. She had these really critical business questions that she desperately needed answers to. For starters, she just knew that hundreds of members were paying their dues every single month, but never, ever actually setting foot in the gym. But with member check-ins just scribbled down in a logbook, trying to find these ghost members for, say, a re-engagement campaign, it was completely impossible. The information was there, technically, but it was totally useless. She also had a hunch the guest policy was being taken advantage of, big time. You see, Black Card members could bring a guest, but that guest was only supposed to visit that specific location once a month. Problem was, she was hearing stories about one person visiting 11 times. And how was this being tracked? Get this, on Post-it notes stuck to the front desk. Yeah, so there was absolutely no way to enforce the rule. And that means lost revenue from people who should be buying memberships, and, it's just not fair to the paying members. So how do we fix a mess like this? The temptation for a lot of us is to just jump right in and start coding, right? Start building tables. But that is a classic mistake. The most crucial first step is to actually step back and think like a business owner. You have to fully, and I mean fully, understand the problem before you can even begin to design the solution. And this, right here, is the core idea I want you to walk away with. A database isn't just some technical thing. It is the answer to a real-world business problem. The absolute best designers, they aren't just coders, they're translators. They turn business goals into a logical data structure. And you know what? That translation process, it follows a pretty clear path. You start by figuring out the purpose, then you gather up all the information you need to track, you divide all that info into subjects, figure out what goes into each, and then finally you connect it all together. Okay, let's really dive into this process. The absolute bedrock principle of good database design is organizing all your information into what we call subject-based tables. And the first rule of this game is super simple. Duplicate information is your enemy. Repeating the same fact over and over and over again, it doesn't just waste space, it is a recipe for disaster, for errors and inconsistencies down the line. The goal is to record each individual fact in only one place, period. Okay, so for example, take a look at this table. If you're listing the supplier's name and address next to every single product they provide, you might be repeating that supplier's address hundreds of times. Now, what happens if they move? If you change the address in one place but miss another, congrats, your data is now officially corrupt. The elegant solution is to split the information by its core subject. You create one table just for products and a completely separate table just for suppliers. Then you link them up. Now, if a supplier moves, you update their address in exactly one spot. And bam, it's instantly correct for all 500 products they supply. That's the power of this approach. So let's bring this back to Planet Fitness. What are the core nouns of the business? Well, we have members, obviously. We have physical locations. We have check-ins, those are events. We have guests, staff, and different membership types. See? Each of these distinct subjects gets its very own table. This is how we start to bring order to all that chaos. Now, to keep everything organized, every single record in a table needs a unique identifier. We call that a primary key. For a Planet Fitness member, that's easy. It's that unique number on their key tag, their member ID. Okay, so now we have our separate, beautifully organized tables. But the real magic, the real power, comes from connecting them. This is what lets us bring all that information together to answer some really complex questions. And that brings us to a really classic database challenge. See, a single member can bring lots of different guests over time. And a single guest, well, they might be brought in by different members. This is what's known as a many-to-many relationship. So think about it. Where do you record that visit? You can't just put a guest ID in the member table because member can bring tons of guests. And you can't put a member ID in the guest table because one guest could be brought by multiple members. It's a real puzzle. The solution is this really beautiful piece of design called a junction table. It's basically a third table that sits right in the middle, and its only job is to connect the other two. It cleverly breaks down that one really complex many-to-many relationship into two simple one-to-many links. For Planet Fitness, we'd create a table we could call Guest Visit. Every single row in this table represents a single event. It records one guest brought by one member to one location at one specific time. It's simple, it's clean, and it's incredibly powerful. So, with our tables all defined and our relationships established, we finally have our blueprint. In the world of database design, this visual blueprint is often called an entity relationship diagram, or an ERD for short. It's the master plan for our data, and this is what's finally going to give Jen the answers she needs to run her business effectively. Remember that ghost member problem from the beginning? Well, now it's a piece of cake. It's a simple query. We just ask the database, hey, show me all the members who don't have an entry in the check-in table in the last 90 days. Boom, done. And this is just a brilliant solution to the guest policy abuse. Now, when a guest arrives, the person at the front desk can do a quick real-time search on our guest visit table. Has Jane Doe visited this location in the last 30 days? The answer is instant yes or no. That rule, which used to be based on sticky notes and hazy memories, is now effortlessly enforceable. So, here's the crucial takeaway. Great database design isn't really about code or servers, it's about a way of thinking. It's the art of translating a real-world mess into an elegant, simple, and powerful structure. And that skill, that ability to create blueprints, can solve problems far beyond just a gym. So I'll leave you with this. Take a look around you. What problem in your world is just waiting for its blueprint?